Alright, well that took a long time to focus and set up and deal with the fact that I do not look my best, because I just got off of work. I look great when I get home from work, don't I? Just beautiful. Speaking of work, we're gonna talk about the differences, the pros and the cons, if you will, of being an Eikaiwa teacher, an English conversation school teacher, and a JET ALT. Because now I kind of have a better footing of what this new job entails, and I still recall what the old job entailed, so I can kind of compare and contrast and help you figure out if JET's the best course for you, or maybe you would do better in an Eikaiwa if that's what you're looking into. Or maybe you're just curious about what it's like to teach English in Japan through various programs, and we're gonna break it down right here, right now. Enjoy. Or, you know, just watch it and debate if you enjoyed it later or not. Moving on! First, let's talk about JET. So the basic characteristics of working for JET as an ALT or assistant language teacher is that you will be assigned to a school, like a public school, sometimes a private school if they're part of the program, but mostly a public school of the junior high, high school, and some elementary variety. In my case, I was a junior high school teacher that occasionally visited an elementary school once every few months. But for the most part, I worked in junior high schools with classes of maybe 30 to 35 students every day, and I always worked with a JTE. I was never alone in the classroom. Except that one time where my teacher got suddenly ill and didn't show up to class, and then I had to suddenly run a class by myself. That was a freak accident though. The other defining characteristic of the JET program is that there is a limitation of being on it for only 5 years. I don't want to say only 5 years, because not too many people stay for that long. The average is 3. But there is a limitation. You cannot do JET for life, unless somehow you end up working for the company themselves. In that case, you'd be working for JET for life, but not as an English teacher. Now, as an English conversation school teacher, there's a lot of differences. The defining characteristics of an Eikaiwa teacher is that there's no limitation to how long you can do it. People do this for decades. I don't know if I could do it for decades. We'll see. I've only just begun. I teach a variety of ages, from babies to preschool, elementary, junior high, high school, college students, businessmen and women, and retirees, and people who are just bored and want to learn English. Variety of people. Which makes the job super interesting. Your classes are also a lot smaller. I mean, the largest class I have, I think, is about 6 people. Eikaiwa work is also a lot more businessy, so you are always wearing a suit. You have to consider different aspects of the business, not just teaching, but getting students to continue their contracts and getting new students to sign up. Things like that, where you don't have to consider in JET because you're at a public school. Kids have to go to school. They have no choice in the matter. And the biggest characteristic of an Eikaiwa job is that you teach on your own. You're not partnered with a Japanese teacher. The classes are all on you. No pressure, right? While you have a variety of structures based on the different types of classes, you do all of the planning on your own as well. And you keep track of your students' progress, and you have them, you know, do checkups and everything, and see how they're doing. You're constantly counseling with the students, so you really get to know your students a lot closer than you would on JET. Sort of. On JET, I knew my students well, and I could speak to them in Japanese when we were not in the classroom, which is how I got to know a lot of my students. But I didn't really know my students. I knew what things they liked, and I knew how well they did in class and what club activities they did. That was pretty much the extent of my knowledge of the students. With Eikaiwa, I know a lot more. I, again, also know their, you know, hobbies and things that they like, but I know about their families, I know about their jobs, and I know about what they want to do with English. I know a bit more about their dreams and aspirations and why they're learning English. So I feel I can connect with my students a little bit more with Eikaiwa. However, I cannot speak to them in Japanese, and that is to prevent them from using me as a walking dictionary, as you may get used in the JET program. a lot of the time you are a walking dictionary, so that's a big difference. Another lovely difference is that with Eikaiwa, there's no school lunch, so you're not forced to eat something you don't like. Or, you know, it is nice to be provided a lunch and not have to worry about it, which was the perk of it, but at the same time, you're not always going to like what they have for lunch, so being able to prepare a lunch that you know you will eat is nice. So that could go both ways depending on your taste. The work hours are extremely different. With Jet, you work normal school hours. Basically, you get there early in the morning, say 7:30, 8 o'clock, and you leave school at 4:30, probably the earliest, but if you stay to hang out with the kids and do club activity, maybe 5:30. With Eikaiwa, I find the work hours are a lot later, which is pretty obvious considering it is almost midnight when I'm filming this, and that's the only free time I have, really, to film stuff at least. The school itself opens at noon, and classes go until 9 on Monday through Friday, but I do not work on Mondays, which is interesting. But I do work on Saturdays, where the day is a little bit different, starts at 11 to 8. So it's an earlier day on Saturdays because that's our busiest day, because that's when a lot of people have more free time to come and take English classes. So my weekend is skewed to Sunday, Monday rather than Saturday, Sunday, which are the weekends for most normal people on the planet. At least where they have a social construct of days of the week that matter for their work lives. Yes. Back to the Eikaiwa thing being all businessy, you have to wear a suit every day. Jet, you do not, which is really nice. However, you don't like wear jeans and a t-shirt. That's, no. You still look nice, but you're not forced to be in a, you know, suit jacket all the time, which is something I'm still getting used to. That'll change during Cool Biz for summertime, but during the winter time, it is suits all around. Hooray! I really don't like suits, I'm finding. Now, if you're thinking of applying to the JET program or to an Eikaiwa, do note that an Eikaiwa application process time, much quicker than JET. JET takes about a year to get on. If you're successful through all the many stages of it right now, it's the interview stage. So good luck to anyone who is interviewing. For me, I interviewed for this company in September. I heard back from them within the next week with a job offer, and I was in Japan by December 6th. Jet has more vacation time, at least in the situation I worked. If you are a city ALT though, you have the same amount of vacation time that an Eikaiwa does. But because I worked in Fukui, we got the whole summer vacation off, the whole winter vacation off. That was a lot of vacation time. This, with Eikaiwa, you usually get about 3 weeks officially off, and then you have some vacation days as well. But there are 3-week periods throughout the year that the school completely closes and everyone has vacation. And it's kind of the part where everyone in Japan has vacation too. So that kind of sucks because everyone's traveling and it's really crowded. But you still get those vacations, so that's nice. The biggest similarity between working for JET and working for an Eikaiwa is that they're both pretty crap for learning Japanese. You spend so much time speaking English and you don't get any time learning Japanese unless you're forcing yourself to go to classes and speak it and communicate with people. I wouldn't recommend coming on JET or Eikaiwa if your sole mission is to learn Japanese. I would do something else to learn Japanese. Although, I mean, you can obviously learn it. It depends on your motivation. But if you're a person like some people who we're not going to mention, me, who have problems motivating themselves to study, I would not recommend it. However, it is a great way to explore Japan and immerse yourself in the culture. That is what it's really, really great for, both JET and Eikaiwa. JET and Eikaiwa both have good and bad points, like anything in the world does. It is up to you and your personality type and your own goals for what you want to do. But if you're the type of person that has a really open mind, is very accepting of different cultures, and wants to explore how the world of Japan works from the point and aspects of being an English teacher, then I think you're gonna do just fine here, whether you join Jet or an Eikaiwa. I hope you learned something about the differences between Jet and Eikaiwas in this video. I hope it didn't go on too long. It probably did because I didn't actually plan out or write a script for this video. Could you tell? You probably could tell. If you have any further questions or comments, please put them down below or on Facebook, Tumblr, and Twitter. And of course, I will see you next time, cuties. Bye! Baymax, if you're gonna join us, you gotta sit right. You too, Levi. Honestly, you guys are terrible at this. This wouldn't happen if the puppets were here. But for the most part, I worked in... Seriously, Baymax?